So hello guys.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourselves for our blog? Who are you? What do you play?
So I'm Carl, I play bass.
Okay.
I'm Francesco. I play guitar and vocals.
I am Miguel and I play guitar as well.
Hi, I'm Paul, I'm the drummer, and together we're Sonic Storm.
Nice to meet you, Sonic Storm. So what kind of music is your jam? What do you play?
It's
How would you describe your sound and your
Old.
music?
old trash, maybe
Also thrash, yeah, with some new wave
new wave
Influences, yeah.
elements. We're not don't stick just in one, just old trash.
Yeah.
Okay.
We try to do
So
a
you're
bit
experimenting a
different.
bit. That's good to know. Okay, so since we're new here to Malta, can you explain maybe how the have you played for a long time? Are you playing around different concerts?
So as individual musicians, we've been around for quite a while, with the exception of this guy who is still our baby.
Maybe.
No, I've been playing in the scene, in the metal scene, since '92. So that's
Before I
Okay.
was born. So.
that's quite a while. Francesco, same thing,
Same.
has been playing for a long time.
95, 96, something like that.
And
That's nice.
I was still 16 or 15.
I started playing like a decade later, in the late 2000s,
And I started
Make it-
playing like,
yesterday.
well, like say, approximately 7 years to 8 years ago. Probably.
Okay.
But how old are you?
Like,
25. So
So you released the debut album in December. Can you tell us more about it?
yes, it's been written between me, Carl, and Paul.
Paul.
Before Paul, we had another drummer,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, we had to separate ways. When the album was recorded, Miguel joined, but we still released the album because it was already done and recorded. We kept it as a trio thrash band. Some songs were written about 4 or 5 years ago,
6.
even 6. Because when
when I
you
started playing guitar.
come up with the band, when you start playing your riffs and creating music together. But there is songs which are new with
Okay.
Paul, and the launch is gonna be
With me
with
as
Miguel.
as guitarist.
so he gave it that touch
That's
of
very
Miguel's guitars.
yeah,
He upgraded the recorded songs to the live version.
yeah.
okay.
Emphasis on upgraded.
Yeah, basically I just have a couple of solos that I did myself, a couple of twists in the songs that are actually my thing, but yeah, that's only to be enjoyed live for
That's
now
very
maybe.
cool.
Or now?
Can't wait to hear it.
Maybe there's a remaster in years time, who knows, but yeah.
Okay, so since we're here, I have to ask, we do this with a lot of bands. What inspires you to make music?
I start?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Take your time.
Our friend.
Well, when I was kid, I grew up because my dad was in the 60s. He was a musician. He did TV show on local national TV. So from young kid, I always heard about Beatles, Drugs, The Kings, Eric Clapton, Santana, etc. So even when I used to see guitarists like Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, I, from kid, dreaming it would be one of them.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Malta, I can't be
Yeah.
Santana or Jimi Hendrix, but
You're France.
this is the way.
You're our
But,
friends.
yeah.
Yes. So that's
Okay.
you.
I didn't start off with metal. Actually, I started off with bands like Marillion and Queen. So my background is not metal, or at the
Okay.
time was not metal. But I would say when I heard, I think it was Kill 'Em All in '83, I was hooked on that, kind of raw energy. and practically Kill 'Em All led to other bands like Pantera.
Cool.
So yeah,
The classic stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Well, how I started was it's very funny because, well, my dad is a metalhead, so I started that way. I was breathing metal all the time. Um, so my dad is a tattoo artist. We're from Colombia, and there was one kid that wanted to do a tattoo, and he didn't have any money to pay my dad. So, but he had a guitar. He had an Epiphone SG, like super old, and my dad accepted the guitar as payment. And that's how I started playing. I arrived from school to the tattoo studio to see my dad. I saw a guitar there, and I started playing. I spent the first year of guitar playing without an amplifier, only play electric guitar unplugged. The
Nice.
rest is history.
Amazing.
My story is quite different. I started off listening to music because everyone else of my friends was listening to music and playing instruments. So I wanted to play an instrument. I chose the drums because it was the only instrument you play sitting down. Little did I know that I had to carry the
Lazy.
whole thing around. And anyway, my bad.
It is still a hard thing to transport. So.
I started out, we're talking 2004-05. Back then, the new metal scene was quite strong. I started out listening to Linkin Park. Then I shifted to older classics, Guns N' Roses. Then I listened to Metallica, and that was life-changing. I started playing drums. I wanted to have a double bass kit like Lars Ulrich. And basically, I kept rolling with that.
Dream. Everyone dreams.
Amazing. Well, first step to a dream.
Yeah.
Starts somewhere. Anyway, thank you guys. Have you ever played abroad from outside of Malta
I've played
as a band and as?
Yeah,
did
I've
you-
played.
Yeah, I
in
played,
another
but
couple of
not
bands.
metal.
We all played abroad,
Yeah.
but not as a band.
Not as a
Aha,
band,
okay.
not as Sonic Storm. So hopefully our next step now
As a band.
will be to play abroad as a
Get
band.
on, we get on the same plane together,
That would be good.
and on the same
Do
stage
you have any
together.
specific countries you want to reach some point?
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
Competition, it's huge. It's bigger than Malta. But it's nice if you can reach Germany, Greece, England,
Argentina.
Oh. Let's start small.
Let's go, America.
Let's start small.
Who knows?
Colombia, I know.
Let's start with Gozo, then we see what happens.
Yes, yes.
Gozo is the smaller island next to Malta, so let's try that first.
Nice to know. Can you just tell me in a short, maybe sentence, what kind of, or few sentences, what is the scene here in Malta in metal music? What do you know? Any bands? Would you recommend any metal bands that you know? What is the scene like? Are there concerts? A lot of concerts, metal bands.
We
Just
have
curious.
a lot
We
of
have
metal
a lot
bands,
of
honestly.
bands
Like,
here
I
in
was
Iceland.
surprised. I was living in Iceland before, and the scene there is huge. But when I came to Malta, I was more than surprised. There's plenty of bands that are not recorded yet, for example. So the only chance to see them live is like the only way to hear them is see them live, which would be Halcyon, or bands like that. Bands that I enjoyed a lot from Malta would be Hein, that are quite new. Halcyon as well, that I just mentioned to you. They are death metal, very, very, very good band. Actually, they have a lot of touches between prog. It's like a fusion between death and Opeth, for example. I
Okay.
would call them like that. So it's like Malta is quite an interesting scene to watch. There's Hein with deathcore. There's other bands like Martyrium, that they are like Black
Murder.
Symphonic, Club Murder, that is completely something completely different. Actually, I would call Club Murder something really new, even though they have been playing for quite a while. But their sound, everything
It's modern.
that comes from their music is it's quite interesting, and I think they do
Unfortunately,
deserve
there's a
more
lot of
listeners.
bands that they want to work, they want to play live, and we get every weekend there is band playing, and it's impossible as the scene is not so big here in Malta, and followers are very few, and the few people there is that follows metal, it's impossible
To
to
attend
follow
every weekend.
Yeah.
a gig,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
The
that's
schedules,
we're
money,
finding
everything.
it
difficult.
is possible, but
is
not
possible, but
not with other commitments. I mean, everyone has their jobs, their
Family,
families,
kids.
events, so you cannot go to every gig. I mean,
We
So-
have good bands. We have
very good bands.
talented musicians.
We have
But
very
it's
good exports from Malta. We have Beheaded, who have basically toured half the world. There's Angel Crypt, who Carl plays with as well.
guitar,
He's their
yeah.
guitarist. They have toured, I think, half of Europe already so far.
Oh, good.
So,
Damage and Co. They play
Yeah.
Damage and Co have played abroad.
abroad.
Who else? I mean, we have quite a good amount of bands who are playing abroad. Hopefully, we'll be next.
Yeah. That's a good segue to one more question. Are there any Malta any metal festivals going on?
During the
Specifically
year.
metal
During
or-
the year, yes.
Metal
During the year,
festivals,
yes,
yes.
of course. There's
So far-
always like Halloween
Events,
Massacre,
yes.
Death Fest.
That Fest, yes.
Uh,
Metal Days.
That fest is
St.
quite
Patrick
huge.
Metal
as well.
Days recently, no?
No,
no,
it
this
is,
is,
No,
Um,
not Metal Days.
the-
The one
no.
we played.
That was, what was it called?
Metal
United
United
United.
Worldwide.
United.
Metal United
Yeah.
Metal
Worldwide.
United.
yeah, it's quite a long name. To remember.
Before there used to be an annual event in summer. It stopped like just before COVID, I think. It was called Extreme Metal Assault.
There used to be Shell Shock.
Shell Shock.
For 2 years, yeah.
I wouldn't give up on Shell Shock. I believe
It's-
it might come
be
back.
It might be back.
Knowing Sean, it will be back
There
soon.
was the Doom Fest.
The Doom, yes, there was the
Festival.
Malta Doom Metal
Over
Fest.
Malta. Yeah.
Metal over
Nebular.
Malta, Dark Malta.
Nebula
So,
Festival, yeah.
we
Yes.
get, yes.
Cool. There's
Yes.
There's,
a
for
lot
example,
That's quite a
of
variety.
them.
Beer Fest as well. That
There's
is,
Beer
it's,
Fest,
there's
exactly.
everything in Beer Fest, but there's a rock stage
Mhm.
and metal bands
Cool.
perform.
Very
yeah.
cool. That's amazing. Well, as a last question, I would like to ask you: do you guys have any any particular advice for young bands, young musicians that you would like to share with the people that listen? What would your advice be for unknown musicians or people that want to become musicians?
Yes, as we spoke with Noel before, there are good young talented musicians. All they need is just they keep their both feet on the ground. They don't look big, because the more you see big, the more you get big fall. Because it's not easy. But yes, keep on rocking and doing good stuff and
Take it slowly.
write good music. Because sometimes, unfortunately, some people they start good and they drop out.
We have had a couple of young bands who wrote very good music,
But then
they
think that they're doing-
they didn't take it step by step. They wanted to accelerate the process, and unfortunately, they ended up falling apart. So that's the advice I think Francis is referring to. Take it step by step. Take it slowly. Take the good times. Take the highs. Take the lows, and learn from them.
Be
basically.
constant, I would say.
Mm.
It's one of the main things. Be constant and have a clear goal. Doesn't need to be the biggest, but
Yeah.
small
think-
steps will always get to somewhere.
That's
practice,
good advice.
practice.
Practice with a metronome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That also as well. That
something
I
I
never
should
did
do.
in my life.
That's why we're suggesting it.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
for sharing your experiences
to you.
and introducing yourself to us. And Slovenia's got a lot to listen to now. So,
Cool.
thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.